Hi, folks. This is Jamie from A Plain Truth. Welcome to another edition. I'm with another mother and daughter who have been had to flee paradise. They're staying in a motel. They're sharing a story, another first person's accounts of what's happened, what happened to them, and what their understanding of what's going down and on. So, ladies, we'll call you Sharon and Susan. What do you want to tell us? You're in a motel now, and you said you're with your dog and a couple kids, but you have some insurance.
Yeah, we do not have insurance, and so we have loss of use. So that's covering us right now for a place to live. So as far as that goes, we're quite fortunate in that respect that our insurance is providing us a place to be. FEMA, of course, is no help to us because we have insurance. So, and I went to FEMA. She went to FEMA to ask for or to sign up for them, and shortly after, a few hours later, I went up there to sign up. And in the beginning, they asked for my ID, but not her ID when she went up. So I'm like, okay, so I went and got my ID, gave them that, and then they read off, like, your rights, that they'll have permission, if you sign on for help from them to access all kinds of different personal stuff like bank account, yada, yada, yada. And after she was done reading off that, I said, I just stood up and got my license back and said thank you, and I walked away. It really got weird. Yeah, because after that, I just essentially refused their help. And the next day, a sheriff called my mom's cell phone looking for me. And this was just a few days into the fire when they were looking for a lot of people. There's a lot of missing people, a lot of chaos going on. And the fact that they had a sheriff looking for me because I walked away from a FEMA trailer was just really odd to us. And the more we started thinking about it, where we were at the time, we wondered why that FEMA had just opened what? It was like the second or third day. Yeah. It was like the second or third day that FEMA had opened at the Sears Plaza at the Chico Mall. And we, at the time, were in the motorhome before we came here, and we're sitting at a park nearby, but out of the way. We didn't want to kind of, be around other people, so we kind of went off where there wasn't many other fire victims. There was, I guess, in another motorhome or 310. And 310. That's where we were staying. And all of a sudden, here's this big old FEMA RV rig, with private security showing up, and they seem to already know who my mom was and not need any ID or anything from her. So we found that kind of odd of why they were seeking out just such a small amount of the fire victims, when they had the Sears Plaza, packed at the time because it had just opened.
Well, yeah, we heard a story. I talked to a guy up on 70 up there towards Polga who had the Roadhouse Cafe, who he was escorted off by gunpoint because he started questioning the PG&E guys clearing the property, and he was bugged out by firemen on the day after the fire at 3:30 in the morning by fire departments, and they said we'll protect your place, but they didn't. So yeah, there's a bunch of alternative extracurriculars. But tell me what happened that day. How did you guys get out?
The morning of the fire, we had stayed up. We've gotten used to being paranoid when PG&E starts saying we're going to turn off the power and it's fire weather, and they really start pushing that on the news. That's when fires show up, conveniently enough, every time. So we had stayed up, and Jamie and I had gone to sleep, and my husband woke up early at 7 and saw the smoke and just knew it just didn't look right. So he got us up, and they went down and went and checked it out. Well, first we looked on CAL FIRE website. Now, normally during all these fires, CAL FIRE is the first within like 10 to 15 minutes, they will put some kind of update of at least the location of where these fires are at. They'll tweet it. And they'll tweet it, what's going on. And so immediately it's kind of become secondhand for us that when there's a fire, we instantly go to the website and start looking and trying to find information of where it's located at and how big it is. And there is nothing on Cal Fire for, I'd say about an hour or more. Nothing came online that we could see. So finally, seeing how big the smoke was getting, we were off Tenth Road, so we were south of Feather River Hospital up on the ridge. We're just outside city limits.
Right.
Yeah, just outside city limits. So we saw smoke, and I decided we need to go take a better look at it and see what direction it's in to figure out what we should do, if we should evacuate. At that point, we just planned to clear the leaves off the roof and kind of get the property more safe and secure and move some stuff up in the motorhome. Because the winds had been so bad that night. But that morning, the winds were gone. Now, that night, it covered our roof and our whole yard in pine needles and leaves. We already had them cleaned up, and overnight we were covered again because the winds were so bad. But all morning and up until the time we left, there was zero wind at our house. Nothing.
Well, that's PG&E said they didn't turn off everybody's power. Did your power get turned off because there wasn't enough winds?
During the night there was a ton of wind, but come daylight, the wind shut off, literally. And we had power up to the time we left. We shut our own power off, but never really shut off, of course. But we attempted to turn it off, at the boxes and all that. But yeah, we had power the whole time. We never got any cell phone warnings. We never got nothing. So me and my dad went up to go look and see at what direction this fire was heading. So we drove up on Pence and head towards Lime Saddle. And as we were driving, all we saw were convoys of what I would term to be undercover cops. Now, I don't think they were cops, personally. That's my opinion.
Were they in unmarked white trucks and cars? That's what I saw, a bunch of unmarked white trucks, mostly pickup trucks.
We had a bunch of black Suburbans, white Suburbans, some pickup trucks. There was one PG&E truck that was pulling out of a nearby neighborhood. And there was one fire truck and a few sheriff cars. And there were multiple convoys. We saw about probably 4 or 5. And none of the police or sheriffs that we saw were locals.
That's what we heard. It was all militarized police.
Yeah, we told it was private military. And actually, as we were coming back, so we realized, okay, this is headed right for Paradise. We've got to go. We drive back, and as we're driving back, a convoy actually, we pulled over and they passed us and we followed behind them. And it turns out that convoy that was in front of us, right past our street, right at the Paradise city limit sign, they blocked the road off. Every time, now we've been in that house for 11 years. And, every time there's been a fire, Pence Road is packed, and it takes hours and hours to get out. And because there's Pence Road, Clark Road, and Skyway that you're supposed to use to exit. Right. And because they blocked it right at the city limit, when we left, it was almost at, 11:30? Yeah, we left at 11:30. It was 11:30, and when we left, I could have drove 100 miles an hour all the way down the hill, because there was no other cars.
Wait, so I was told guys were parked on Skyway until like 5 o'clock at night and couldn't go anywhere.
Correct. So why was Pence Road blocked? Why weren't they using it to exit? And when we got down past Lime Saddle, where Durham, Pence, and Pence Road meet, which will then take you, if you take Durham, Pence, it connects to Clark.
Right.
They had that blocked. And the only reason they let us through is because our daughter's car was almost out of gas, and we couldn't go down 70 to Orville to get out. We had to take the Durham Pence Road and go to the corner at Clark and Durham Pence where that gas station was and get gas for her.
So they let you through.
So
they let you through the blockade.
They escorted us through. Yeah, escorted us actually until we got to the traffic jam. They said, "Okay, well, wait here in line. Just keep turning your car off and." You know,
excuse me, ladies. I need to ask this question, Sharon and Susan. Excuse me, but CBS News, The Guardian, The New York Times, they're saying 52,000 people evacuated.
I don't believe it. I don't think so.
Well, how can they evacuate if it's blocked from getting out? If Pence Road, which is the upper bench of paradise, you can't get out there and it's blocked, how are they going to get out?
And there wasn't many cars down before we stopped from our end on Durham Pence. There wasn't many down there either. There wasn't many cars at all down there. And what's interesting too is that gas station. I ended up he had no power. No power. He had no power. There were two PG&E trucks parked out front of this gas station, and they were doing stuff. Working on the power poles, but they had turned his power off. None of, we didn't lose power up in Paradise, but they had his power off. So he couldn't pump gas. So he was very kind and let me leave my car there. And we just left it, and I rode with them out. But we had, Boyd Kelly was at the sheriff that drove by. He was from Berrysville or Yuba County or something like that. Yeah. And we're like, man, how'd they get here so fast? I mean, they had police everywhere down the hill, directing traffic, and
let's do the math. If the fire starts at 6:30, 7:30 in the morning, let's say, and now it's 11 o'clock, you're saying you're leaving? Is that right?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 3 hours to get from Yuba City that they're going to be able to alert, to call, to bring sheriffs in there? Are you kidding me?
Yep. I've never seen it so well set up. I mean, they had sheriff's flagging everybody, go this way, go that way, at every light. They literally directed us. We couldn't go anywhere near Chico. We had to go. They directed all the traffic from our end of the area. From Clark to Orville. From Clark to Orville. They shut the highway. They shut Highway 99 down and wouldn't let us get on to go to Chico. We had to go out to Orville and go all the way around through Durham and those little towns to get to Chico because they shut off the on-ramp tonight. They wouldn't let us get on 99.
Why?
I don't know.
It wasn't even close to the fire zones. You were like 15 miles away from the fires, right?
Yeah. The only thing we could think of is that to let all the traffic, to let the other traffic through that, we assumed must have been there. But they kept 99 shut down for days. And what's really interesting about that as well is where they had it shut down, there was a sign that was newly installed over this past summer. And on 99. On 99, it was right at Neal Road, right? Yeah. The Neal Road and 99, there's a traffic light right there. And they installed like a sign with also another post with a camera, like a ball camera on it. Right. And it had like kind of like a little side pull-off area and concrete barriers all around it. And concrete barriers all around it. And so from the beginning when that went up, we were very concerned, what the heck is this and what are they doing? What's this about? And it went up overnight. It was always done overnight. You didn't see them working on it during the day. It was, you'd go by and then the next day you'd come through overnight, they put up this huge highway sign on the highway. Because I work in Chico, so I mean, I'm going back and forth every day through that area. And yeah, it was literally overnight. You never saw what crew came in and put it in. It was about 4 days before the fire started. That sign had been off. There was no power to any of it. It was just sitting there like as if on standby. And there was a company, and I apologize, I forgot to write down the name, even though I tried to tell myself to write down. There was like a little small white company truck with like an electrician or something, and he had the metal boxes open where all the electronics were, and he was like doing something with that sign, and that was the first time I had ever seen any maintenance or anything work on the sign. And I just can't help but think they had a week almost of 99 shutdown between Chico and Oroville. You couldn't walk out there and see what kind of traffic was coming in. You couldn't see that sign from anywhere nearby. It just makes me think, all the out-of-towners, all the PG&E crew and all these people that aren't from the area, what a perfect way to have these signs. And Butte College being the staging area for the firefighters was also really interesting because about a month before the fire, every time I drove home, I saw a convoy of about 50 green sheriff trucks. And I've never seen a green sheriff truck, like a forestry truck, but they were green sheriff trucks, and there was about 50 of them every day. And I never saw them come past Butte College. It was always coming from Butte College, and they were always headed towards Chico. And none of the sheriff trucks had any markings on them, or, to say what county or what city or what state they were from. And I just found that very odd, and me and Mom talked about it a few times, and we thought, people grow marijuana out there in Concal and Cherokee and out there, maybe they're doing raids, but it just didn't make sense. So, wow, that's a lot of trucks, and why would they be going to Duke College? Now, when I brought that up, I had run into 3 highway patrols, and I had a lot of questions for them. It was a few days after the fire, and interesting enough, when I brought up that, I said, wow, you guys were really organized.
Right.
I've never seen you guys so organized before, directing everybody all over the county. And he's like, well, yeah, there's a lot of fires and and I had brought up the sheriff's trucks and how they were at Butte College, and the senior highway patrol in the group, you could just see his face drop. I said something that was they thought nobody was aware of or knew about. And there's just a lot of weird things to that conversation as well.
Did you see, so the PG&E, talking to this gentleman who I'm going to publish here in a little bit, he was saying that the PG&Es was there weeks before, and then days before on his road, he was off of Clark, I forget the road, he said, they were installing before the event, a week before, these boxes on these poles. Did you notice or see anything like that?
Yeah, that was months also. We saw that for months before they were putting what we thought were the 5G stuff up on the poles, these big boxes that had flashing red lights on them. Mm-hmm. And they were in certain areas. And about a month before the fire, PG&E showed up out at our house and said he had to replace, he did say we had to go and interrogate him, because immediately when PG&E showed up at our door, he knocked and walked away real quick, and we're like, whoa, don't let him out of your sight. What's he doing here? And what was it? And he said that the battery had gone dead in our smart meter on our gas meter.
So he's there to replace the battery?
He was there to replace it because he said the battery had gone dead. It had quit telling him what our service was, that it had stopped working, and that he needed to put a new one on. I said, well, I thought those are supposed to last 5-10 years. He goes, oh yeah, they're supposed to last 10 years. I said, well, it hasn't been on my house for 10 years. He says, yeah, but something went wrong with it, so we got to replace it. So he wouldn't give me any kind of documentation that he was there. No name tag. I didn't notice it, but she noticed that he didn't have a name tag. So I called PG and I said, hey, look, you just got a guy out here. He replaced something on my gas meter. He didn't give me a receipt or anything to show me a work order, nothing. He wouldn't give me anything. He didn't have anything. I said, so I'd like a copy of that work order or some sort of receipt showing that he was here at the house. So if anything happened, I've got documentation that you guys were here unannounced. And changing things out on my meter. I went and had to make numerous phone calls. In the end, I couldn't get anything. No one, they said they couldn't give me anything. They said the only thing they would do is if we weren't home, they would have left a piece of paper that said, sorry we missed you, we were here, but that was it. But since we were home, I can't have any kind of documentation that they were there. And I talked to a few people after the fire, and they said that they had the same thing happen a day or two before the fire, that they had been out and replaced the supposed batteries on their meters.
Including the gentleman I had spoken with, he said that PG&E was out at his house the day before, and they also asked, he had an elderly mother that used to be on oxygen, but she had passed on and was no longer there, but they had even asked him if there was any oxygen tanks in the home.
And he said, no, my mom passed away a few years ago. We don't have them anymore.
Huh. So what have you been back up? Have you been able to go back in? I know you said you went in for a little bit, but I mean, everything's gone from the residence. You sent me those pictures. It's devastating.
Yeah, it's pretty wiped out. We went up there. It's just gone. I mean, it's just gone. And even the way the meter was laying on the ground looked funny. Like the way the PG&E, the way it fell, and then all the face and the guts of it are all missing. There's just two wires sticking out. That's all that's left.
And the wires are clean cut.
Yep.
That too, pictures, and that was in the when Cal Fire before anybody was allowed up there took photos of all the destroyed properties, and we noticed that the smart meter, which was only 3 feet off the ground on the wall, happened to be laying on top of all the debris of the house, and that
out on the sidewalk,
and that the meter was missing. And when I observed the wiring, it's all. I mean, they took wire cutters and cut it out. And that was before any citizens were allowed into the area. That was when only Cal Fire and PG&E was there.
Taking pictures of each individual property, and then they put it on a map, and you could punch in your address and see if your house had burned.
Now, Cal Fire is an interesting story as well, because I called Cal Fire during the fire and talked with a firefighter from there. And I can't remember all the conversation because it was a really traumatic time frame. But when we were talking, he was telling us, we had to wait to go up there and wasn't giving us any real information. And he said, I don't mean to be secretive. I said, oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do tell me to be secretive. And after that, his tone changed and he went, look, what's done is done. And there's nothing you can do about it. And there's nothing we can do about it. It's done. It's over with. And my concern was PG&E being up on our property without us there. And he told me, well, PG&E has to be there because they have to, by law, they have to remove the power lines off the road so the firefighters can get access to the roads to fight the fire. Yet the news is telling us that there's power lines everywhere. We can't go up there. There's power lines all over the place. Well, not from what a Cal Fire told me, because he said they have to have them picked up and removed, and that's why they are up there.
You guys have seen the pictures of the what was that in Paradise, the mobile home that was completely torched, but the forest surrounds it without any trees being touched. I mean, we've got to stop talking like this was some type of forest fire. In the event that it really was this is a genocidal attack. This is the same thing happened in Santa Rosa. Same thing happened in Malibu. Same thing happened in Redding, Lake County, China. Wake up, folks. But Paradise is unique because of the whole cult.
There's an oleander at our house. The oleander was a concern. We actually discussed removing it because it's a fire hazard, because it was so close to one of the exterior walls of the house. That oleander is still there. The house is ash.
And the plastic mailboxes, and the garbage cans weren't touched. the trees were only burnt up 20 feet where they preserved the bark was only burnt,
And you
but the
got these
trees
weird
weren't
holes
touched.
in the ground. There's like weird holes.
I saw those. I saw the trunks. They went down like 2 feet, 3 feet in this like hole, like a laser had gone down and just torched it, like cauterized it, like a cauterizing tool, and just burned the crap.
Right where my grandson, he had one of those like little pretend cars, battery powered that you drive around the yard, and right where that was, that is completely gone. There's no. There's nothing that you can tell that there was a child's little four-wheeler ride-on car there, and it was a good-sized car, but there's a hole in the ground. And just the way things are burned, it just doesn't look right. My hula hoop, my plastic little dinky hula hoop that was right next to his car was untouched. Oh yeah, like 30 feet from it, the plastic hula hoop is totally fine, but the car is gone. I found 2 rocks on the property that had exploded, and then also on our street at the end, there's a senior living mobile home park, and there was a different type of rock in their yard that had exploded, but yet there was no source. There was like a little sapling tree that was hanging right over where the rock exploded. I can't figure out what heated these rocks to fracture. I can't find anything to prove it was heated to these levels that would make rocks explode. And that's another thing too. When we left, so we were driving back from the evac. We were driving back to the house after looking at the fire from Mine Saddle area, and as we came back, there was people were getting ready to leave. There's a campground, and we watched them leave, but nobody was coming down the hill. There's a senior mobile home park, and we didn't see anybody, minimal traffic on our street, and we were the last to leave our entire neighborhood. It seemed we were the last to leave, but there was a CAL FIRE prisoner truck by itself, no, cop escort like you normally see.
Wait. Let me slow you down for a second. CAL FIRE. What kind of truck?
It was a CAL FIRE inmate truck. CAL FIRE uses inmates to fight fire.
They're bringing inmates in to work on the fires. I got it. Okay.
So usually when you see a CAL FIRE inmate truck, there's usually guards, like a sheriff guard with them. There's sheriffs with them that are with them, but they weren't. This inmate truck came up the street. I assumed we were in the process of running in and out of our house and throwing things into our motorhome and our car, trying to get out. But we noticed the CAL FIRE truck go up, and he went up the street, but he sat up on top of the hill. And turned around and parked. Instead of what I thought he should have done is gone through the park, getting people out, but he stopped, turned around, and parked, and it was almost like they were sitting up there watching us. And then finally, it was like 30 minutes they sat there watching. Probably 30 minutes later, they came down and said, you guys got to go. And I said, we're going right now. And he says, well, we can't fight the fire until you leave. I said, whoa. As you can see, we're leaving. Do not fight the fire because you're waiting on me. Don't wait on me. Go do your job. But there's no fire in sight from our standing point at that point. At that point, it was still bright daylight. It was a little smoky. But up the street, supposedly at the hospital, from the videos I saw, it's like dark. And everything's on fire, and that's like a mile or so up the road from us.
So
finally,
go ahead. Sorry.
So finally, I said, you know what? If you're just going to stand there and wait on us, I said, go get a wrench and shut off our gas meter. So they went and got a wrench off their truck. They shut off our gas meter, shut off the gas, and we shut off the power. And they asked us to unlock our garage doors. They asked us to unhook the electric we have a power garage door. They asked us to unhook it so that it could be opened without power.
All right, so tell me about the fire engines. Did you see? I mean, 6:30 in the morning. The fire started. By 8:30, they said it was down from coming down from Polga into Paradise, traveling at 80 football fields a minute, which is 237 miles an hour. So you're saying, where's the fire departments? Where's the fire? Did you see any fire?
We heard one fire truck. We heard one siren of one fire truck one time. And it sounded like they were headed out towards Highway 70 to go that way.
And this is 11 o'clock. So this is after 6:30, 7:30, 8:30. This is 4.5 hours after the fire started.
Yeah, well, the one fire. Yeah, 4.5 hours. We heard one siren. We had one cop car that drove down our street, and they yelled on a bullhorn, "Get out." One time. And then there was a white Suburban that drove up the road, and this gentleman, it will always be burned in my memory just the way he looked. He had no badges on him, no uniform, but they drove up our street as well, and he looked at me and yelled and like pointed back towards the Pence Road. He's like, "Get out of here right now." But he had a bulletproof vest on with no badges, no nothing. And right when I saw that, it just, reality really hit that, wow, we're under attack right now. That's not a cop. That's military. That's military. And right when we realized the fire, so it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, we had heard what we assumed or thought was a sonic boom and a jet going over.
What time was this, ladies? What time?
7 a.m. is when we heard the jet and the sonic boom.
Gotcha.
And then it was and then the explosion started, around like at 11? It wasn't just before. It was a while because they just kept getting closer and closer and closer, the explosions. There were these explosions that we kept hearing. But they were like, it was timed. Like synchronized. Like they were synced. It was like, every boom, boom.
Did it seem nearby or did it seem farther away?
At first it seemed farther away, and then they started getting louder and closer, and then that's when Cal Fire drove down the street and said, "Come on, guys, you gotta go now." And when we asked him where the fire was, he could not give me any information. All he mumbled was they're trying to flank it. And see, normally the inmate trucks, they normally are the ones digging fire lines. It didn't make any sense why they were why were they sitting on our street waiting for us to leave? And meanwhile, that roadblock was still there. And then they got the roadblock up above our street. It just didn't, none of it made, and it didn't click. All of it didn't click into place until, days later we went, wait a second. Why did they have the roadblock right there?
Right.
Why wasn't our street jam-packed full of cars? Every time it took hours to get out, and we drove right down the hill. They could see a third of the town. I mean, how many people could have gone down Pence Road that were turned around and didn't get sent down there? Because if we were there at 11:30 and there was still no fire in sight, and just started getting ashfall, like a few minutes before we left, small ashfall, just small ashfall, but not lit ash, just out ash, just powder ash, not even fire starting ash was falling. I mean, how was it that they weren't able to get more cars down that road? Why was it blocked?
Well, the only answer that can come out of all this, because you're not the only one testifying, everyone's saying they heard explosions. Everyone says PG&E was there before, FEMA was there before. This was a staged event. The only answer is they didn't want people to leave.
No, and that's another thing too, is PG&E, they had tore up our road a few months before, redoing the gas lines on our road and the gas line to our home. And
what I really found interesting was Elliott Road, which goes by Safeway and the AM/PM in downtown Paradise. On Elliott Road, a few years ago, when they put in, what was it, mobile home park right there, they had opened up the roads and done the gas lines for the new mobile home park. And that was just a few years ago. Well, a few days, because I went to Safeway a few times, a few days before the fire, I thought it was weird that Elliott Road was all opened up, and they had metal plates on the ground, and the PG&E was going back into the gas lines underneath Elliott Road. And it just didn't make any sense to me why they were there, you know. And there has been so much, the main traffic for about 6 to 9 months, the main traffic, when I drive home after work from Chico, I drive Durham, Pence, past Butte College, up to Fence Road, and that's how I get home every day. I don't normally take Skyway because it's a lot of traffic I just rather avoid normally. But all the traffic I see on the road is PG&E trucks. That's all I ever saw every single day was mainly PG&E trucks.
What are you seeing now? I mean, they're still there, I'm hearing.
Yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah, they're everywhere there. Last night, I almost want to say, I mean, I'm not for sure, but it really seemed to me yesterday when I was heading home from Chico that the base camp lights almost look bigger, like there's more lights there than there was. Have you seen the base camp on Skyway, right? You've seen that, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I photographed it and went up there.
Night?
It's a massive, massive operation.
I mean, when you see that at night, you can see it from all over the valley floor. When you're driving on 99, it's so lit up. It's like a city up there. We didn't know what it was the first time we saw it. We're like, what the hell is that?
And what you grew up? I mean, you're talking to others. Have you met others that have been able to get out there in the motels? I mean, what are other people saying about this?
We're not seeing really anybody because we're kind of pretty far away from Chico right now. The people we've talked to mainly, it seems like they think it's kind of weird that the fire hopscotch or they find something's up. But most of the people we've talked to, everybody knows what's going on. Everybody knows something.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Everybody knows what's going on.
Like when we've talked to people, we go to the post office to go collect your mail. You know, everybody's there for Paradise. You're all waiting in line. You turn in your name, and they hand out the mail. And you talk to people while waiting, and you get a lot of the same thing of, well, my trees weren't burned, but my house is gone. This is burned, but that's not, you know. And it jumped these houses, but just, you know, it's like people seem to be aware that something's not right. You get no one will really say what exactly it's been attacked. Some people will openly say it's been attacked, but other people, they just
what I've learned is it's what's called out of context. All of what we know about is forest fires. All we know about is how fires have worked in the past. And I know Jamie, I know Susan has looked at my sites and looked at my stuff. So you guys are pretty much further down the road of understanding what may have happened. But I mean, what happens next? What has happened to the town? What do you think happens next from here?
Throw away the key, lock the gates, and throw away the key. In my opinion, I don't think they're gonna. From things I've heard on the news and tidbits in the paper, it's like death up there. I don't know how to describe it. People died on our street. It's just, it feels like death up there. It's not what it was. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it, but.
Well, is there any? I mean, do you have anybody reaching out? You apply. You got your insurance company, and just so you know, I mean, 97% of people here in Santa Rosa do not have enough insurance coverage. Once they signed over to FEMA their insurance, FEMA took it and scraped the ground, charged them, and then they paid off the mortgage. And there's just not enough money to rebuild. So hardly anybody out here in Santa Rosa, a year and a half later, has been able to rebuild.
not going to have to pay for them the clearing of it. That it's not going to come out of our pocket.
Yes, it is.
And,
Yes, it is, because FEMA supplies this is disaster capitalism. 70% of the money, federal government money, comes if they get enough contracts signed, insurance companies signed over by the people who've lost everything to FEMA, and then FEMA does the negotiating with the insurance agencies. That's how everybody did it here, and we tried to get them to stop that. And the city council said, if you don't sign over to FEMA and you don't do what we say, we're going to do it ourselves, clean the property, and we're going to bill you, and you're not going to get a building permit.
Well, what they told us is that we went to a meeting about it, and they said if we sign to let them clear it, they will basically they'll just take whatever insurance coverage. So if say I don't know the exact number, but say for example my insurance will spend $2,500 on or $25,000 or whatever on that clearing of the property, then they'll accept that from the insurance, and that's that. And we won't owe anything.
But you won't have any money. The point is that after all that, there's not enough money to rebuild, because most insurance claims write it so there's not enough money. The rebuilding cost is, and out here in Santa Rosa now, they're requiring all electric homes, having a battery in your garage. It's going to have solar panels. So all the cost to rebuild is off the hook, and it just makes it prohibitive. I mean, this is what, I'm sorry, it's going to happen.
And I think
same thing up there.
I agree exactly what's going to happen. They're going to make it impossible to rebuild, so we can't rebuild. You know, just like the whole time, why weren't they fighting the fire? They kept saying, oh, we have to save lives. You can't fight the fire. We have to save lives. Well, wait a second. If you prevent the fire from getting to the town, then you're saving lives.
But they weren't interested in saying, we were just chronicling, and this has been over a dozen different first-person testimonies. There was no interest in saving lives.
No. And there was a gentleman that actually, he was downtown. I actually saw photos that he showed of Safeway catching fire. There was nothing around Safeway to catch it on fire. And where it caught on fire was at the top of the roof, where the wiring seems to come into the Safeway building. It just sparked there and ignited out of nowhere. You couldn't see anything. And the way the houses were burning, he was walking down the road. He said he didn't see any of our local firefighters or police. He saw a bunch of the undercover vehicles, and when he would wave them down, they would just ignore him and shine him on and drive by. And he was walking down Elliott and took photographs of everything on fire. And I mean, the fire was burning white hot, like just like a torch, and the cars were burning the same way, but there was nothing on the ground, no trees, nothing around the homes. It was just the homes themselves burning. Didn't they turn purple? Yeah, they turned kind of color. It like emanated a whitish flame with like a purple emanation coming off the homes and the vehicles up there. And yeah, he never saw any firefighters fighting anything up there.
The numbers, the press down, the USA Today, CBS, 60 Minutes News, New York Times, Guardian have all used the number that 52,000 people evacuated out of Paradise that day. What's your comment to that?
I don't buy it. Makes it hard to you know. I don't buy it, because where was everybody? I mean, yeah, there was a lot of traffic, and it took us like 5 hours to go around Oroville to get through to Chico. That's good. There just wasn't that many people anywhere we've seen. We never, like 2 days ago. Was it 2 days ago we went to one of the assistance centers in Chico, and I asked, how many people come in here a day? She said we get about 80 people a day, but that they can come back once a week. And they can come back you can go back every 7 days, but they get about 80 people a day. If you're talking 52,000 people evac, going into there to get food, shampoo, whatever supplies. Doesn't seem like very many. And then I went to a church to get some donation, and she told me that total they had seen about 800 families, and she said some of those are double counted because they'll come back a few days later by about 800 families. The post office lines were never too long, but there's a little bit of a line, maybe 100 people at tops, but that's the most you ever saw there. The fact that we even got into this hotel, I would assume that we should have even had access to a hotel because 52,000 people, there's not a lot of hotels in this county. And in these neighboring counties, there's just not enough room for all those people.
Well, yeah, and this is part of what I'm just under. We're contacting people in Sacramento, in Oroville, in Quincy. I mean, if you're trying to find people, it's very hard because they bugged out, and the closest towns are 20, 30 miles away in the hills, and you can't get a head count. But we went to the Butte County Fairgrounds, and they said there was 90 people in there. This was 3 weeks ago. They were shutting it down. That's where they had the Nova virus breakout, which is another story. But the guard who had been there since before November 8th from Georgia, he was stationed at the Red Cross Center before November 8th. From Georgia, he said there was 300 people, and there were 4 Red Cross centers set up, but 2 of them were being shut down. And he said there was 300 in the other one, so 101, 300 in another, 150 times 4. You're talking 600 people. Now, if everybody got torched out of their homes and 52,000 evacuated, and Chico's the closest town, and Red Cross is the center for people to go to, and we're chronicling their own numbers, 600 people. Where did all the people go?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And when we drove, we're about an hour from Chico, and driving along, you can see on the highway that it's all the PG&E and government vehicles that are at these hotels.
Right.
And they told them that the PG&E and all the work crew, they were saying that they had to stay 30 miles out. They didn't want them staying in the area, and they claimed that the evacuees had somewhere to go, but it seemed more or less that they didn't want any of the base camp workers to be within 30 miles of the disaster zone or where the evacuees could be because they didn't want any kind of chatting going on. And then we also heard that they, from a security guard, where we're staying, he talks to them, and they said that they were sending a bunch of them back to the base camp. And, all the traffic in Chico, there's a lot more traffic there, but it's all the base camp worker traffic.
Right. We heard that we went to Walmart at the campsite there. They were supposedly housing everybody, and we saw maybe 20, 30 tents, but we heard stories that the people that they put in there were Chico homeless. They put the homeless people in there.
Yes, and there were a lot of homeless that were mingling, like at the Walmart and at the Target. Right after it happened, a lot of the homeless came in, and I don't blame them, and I don't begrudge them anything. They were able to get that extra help. But the problem is, a lot of them were homeless and not the refugees from Paradise.
Wow.
There was a huge camp, actually. We were kind of disturbed because the donation center also gave us extra stuff that we didn't need, and so we wanted to give it to somebody else. And I went, well, there's this area, this grass area between the road and Chico, and there's always a huge encampment there, like 50 tents to 100 tents of homeless people that have been staying down there for the past few months. And so I went, we'll take the box of supplies and food and toiletries that we don't need. We'll just go take it and we'll drop it off over there to them. They could use it. So we went over there the night before last, and they're all gone. They kicked them out of there.
We heard that too in Oroville. They had a guy set up a truck. He was serving food. The FEMA guys came in and shut him down. Red Cross shut us down when we went to here in Sonoma. They kicked all the people out in the middle of the night in the rain. after 2 weeks of being in the Sonoma County Fairgrounds, the Red Cross, the police came in, local police, and the Red Cross said, take them, take him, and they kicked him out in the middle of the street in the middle of the night. Hundreds of people. I went to Hurricane Harvey to determine where Red Cross had taken in $450 million for the hurricanes of Harvey. 50 people I spoke with 3 weeks after, not one person had seen any Red Cross anywhere.
I never saw a Red Cross anywhere. We had one Red Cross truck. They drove through. We were staying at a park at the other end of town with just a few other people. The Red Cross truck drove through the parking lot and drove around all the few motorhomes that were there with us. And then that's when the next day the FEMA truck showed up and set up shop. Even though they had it set up there at Sears, they came to this park that just had a handful of us and brought in this big, huge FEMA bus and then set up a table to sign us all up that were down there for FEMA. And my concern is this: they didn't need my mom's, they didn't need her ID, they didn't need anything from her, any validation of who she was. Like, they already had looked up our license plates of our vehicles and knew exactly who we were, and that we had signed up. Because how did they not know that we didn't already go down to the Sears Plaza and sign up? And, you know, and then getting that phone call where the sheriff's looking for me because I walked away from a FEMA truck. I mean, they should have been busier looking for other things. I mean, if she walked away from a FEMA table because she decided not to sign up, that's, you know, her prerogative. Why should the sheriff be so concerned to call looking for her?
Right.
It just didn't make sense. And then somehow we ended up, even though all our family and friends had been contacted by us and said we were all great, no problem, we still somehow ended up on a missing list a few times, I think. And it took a couple of times of calling to get us off the list. And then the sheriff calling looking for Dad, and we don't know how he even got the family member's number that he got. We can't figure out how did that sheriff even know that they were related. How did he even get that phone number of a family member calling looking for my dad? Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Then we had another sheriff call my husband's sister saying, you know where they're at? Or, you know, they're missing. And she's like, no, they're not missing. So we've had two different sheriffs looking for my daughter and my husband and have somehow gotten phone numbers to look for them, but we don't know how, and then we don't get any information because we never, you know, get told why or what. Another interesting thing, too, was, shoot, I just blinked. So sorry.
Sorry.
There's like so much going on. Our garage. I was looking at the Cal Fire photograph in more detail because we shut our garage door. Now we unhinged it, you know, in case they need to fight the fire. But I noticed that the skeleton that holds up the garage door was on the outside of the garage door. And I asked my dad, I said, how can this be? How could the house burn that way to where the garage door? And then it just clicked. My dad goes, well, the garage door was open. And if you look how the garage door is laying, somebody opened our garage door after we left the house. And then on top of that, when I was checking and looking around through the debris, I found we had a shed and a shop on the property, and the lock on it was separated from the door. And there was another lock on the door from the inside that was like a latch. If you were to stay the night inside the shed, it had a latch to lock from the inside. And where that burned, it burned like straight down within the foundation. And the padlock that was on the outside was just on the other side of the door. So it didn't make sense. It didn't make sense of how that ended up there. It was impossible because it was obvious the door burned in place. It didn't fall over because the latch was over in the shed. But the padlock was a few feet out from that. And then I couldn't even find the other 2 padlocks for the shop.
Wow.
I couldn't find.
Well, we're approaching an hour now, and it's just been fabulous. Just not fabulous, but it's been very helpful that you're sharing this first person narratives about what happened, and so what can we do? How can these people listening and wanting to help? What can we do to try and help you guys? What can we do?
Pray, and I don't know, help get the truth out, to spread what's really happening, because what scares me the most and what haunts me every night, Jamie, is that Paradise, they annihilated most of our town. We don't know where the people are. We know our street is now a cemetery, that those people didn't make it out. And if they got away with it to this level, to this extent, this time, it's going to be the newer abnormal. Because once they get away with it and people just let it go, and, you know, it's just going to get worse if people don't wake up and become aware of these things. And, you know, being aware made all the difference for us. A lot of people left with not even a wallet, not even their phones, you know, but because we have been aware of the truth and what was going on, it gave us that extra ability to be able to at least get some things out and get to safety. You know, that's a big one. Loading up stuff ahead of time. You know, my father, he was so nervous about it, he loaded up stuff ahead of time in the motorhome, so he had some extra clothes and stuff in case we had to run. If it were to have, you know, some basic supplies in our motorhome. Because at the same time, even though you know and you're aware of this, you're so hoping and wanting it not to happen. You hope it doesn't, and, you know, now it's with us, we could have prepared even better and even more, and I wish we would have. But I agree with my daughter, if we don't blow this up and let people understand what we're really up against, and they get away with
murder. They get away with murder.
Murder. If you can wipe out an entire town and get away with it, you're going to get even bolder.
Yes.
And do even more. And which we've already seen with Santa Rosa down south, up north. All over the state, they've been burning us out. And if you can't see that the people of this country are being attacked, I don't know what to say. And like that Norm, something happened. Something was in the air. I have been sick for 2 weeks. I have never been this sick in my life. I mean, I was out for the count sick for 2 weeks. And we weren't even in the shelters. It's just been that attack on us from day one. Yeah. And I know there's people that need help. I know there are people out there, you know, we met a woman at the Walmart with her 2 kids, and she's just like, I don't know what to do, I have nowhere to go, you know. So, I mean, there are people out there that do need assistance that are not getting it from FEMA. They're not getting it from Red Cross or these other agencies. You know, and unfortunately, right off the bat, they brought the rain in and destroyed a bunch of the donations that people are giving. You know, the civilian donation centers were some of the best for us. They had the people that brought things in at the Target and at Walmart before they shut that down. I can honestly say all the regular, everyday people that helped out, I cannot thank them enough. Yeah. We had a lady come up to us and hand us a backpack with some basics and a gift card to Walmart for a few bucks in it, and it made all the difference in the world. But I haven't seen Red Cross either. I see their signs, but I haven't seen them doing anything.
Well, do you remember after Hurricane Harvey and out here in California, you go into the store and it said, "Would you like to donate to the victims of Hurricane Harvey $1 or whatever?" Remember
Yeah.
that? You're not seeing.
Yeah.
You're not
Oh,
seeing
they're
that
doing that
now.
here.
You're not seeing any of that now.
Well, actually, they're doing that for the campfire victims in Safeway. I said, well, hey, I'm a campfire victim. Where's my check? Well, where can we get some assistance? Where do the donations go to? And no one's got an answer for anything. They just have to come and donate. And we have no clue where to get access to those donations. The funny thing is they have everywhere. You look online all over the place, you will find donate here, donate here, donate here. But there's nowhere that it says, if you are that victim and you need that donation, come here.
Right.
Short of going to the FEMA center and you get a one-time, gift card from one place, like Cal Fire gave a $250 gift card if you went there and signed up for FEMA. You can get your gift card. But you had to sign up through FEMA to get that card.
Did you hear about people getting money for cars? That FEMA would escort them back to the properties and say what kind of car you had, and they would give them cash?
No, I haven't heard about that.
I heard that was going on too. And then the rentals, that was driving up rental prices because people were taking the cash and going into Chico and renting places and driving up the rentals to the homeless population, just like here in Santa Rosa, has gone nuts.
Nothing would surprise me. Nothing at this point would surprise me. Oh, and another thing too about the gas station where my car was parked, it survived and its power was shut off. And almost everybody we talked to when they left their house, their power was on, and all their homes are now gone.
Yeah, and let's close it on that, because that's the thing that I keep bringing, and same thing that happened here with us at 4 o'clock in the morning when we had to bug out. I only had less than a quarter tank of gas, and I drove by the gas station, and there was 30 cars easy with the power off, sitting at a powered off gas station, and all they could do was wait for the gas station to be turned on so they could get gas to get out of there. So everybody listening, keep your tanks full. You guys said the same thing, but that might have saved your life by not having enough gas.
Yep. My car was just, I didn't use it that often, so it just sat there, but we realized if I don't get it out, it'll be gone. But yeah, I keep my gas tank. I never let my gas tank go below a half a tank. And that is the best advice you can give to a lot of people, because that, like you said, sitting in a gas station out of gas with no power and no gas, you can't get anywhere. And the cars, I don't understand it with the cars, that cars were stalling. Have you heard that? Just one more thing. I've heard that people's cars just quit working.
Yeah, I just before I got on with you guys, I interviewed a guy who was a technician with laser companies, and he was describing the exact how they did it, why they did it. And just like he's talked about back in the 1990s, all cars are equipped like with low jack. They can take control of your steering wheel, they can take control of your brakes, they can shut off your car. And so that's what's been into technology since the 1990s. And he said, I noticed that all these cars were lined up perfectly along the sides of the road, like somebody had parked them there. And so what he's postulating is that these cars were made to pull over, turned off, parked in a straight line, and that's why you hear of all the people having to run in the streets. I thought it was because the cars got hot, but he's saying no, because the cars were pulled over, turned over. People was to get out of their cars and walk.
Well, see, what concerns me about that is if the fire is coming at you and it's getting too hot in your car, and you're like, okay, either I sit in this car and I die, or I get out of this car and I run and take a chance and live. Are you going to shut your door when you get out and run? Because on a lot of the pictures, I noticed the car doors were all closed. Shouldn't all those cars have their doors open because they open the door and ran for their lives?
Or they had enough time, the fire wasn't there yet, the cars stalled, they got out, they had time to do it, they got stuff out of their car, whatever they needed, they closed the door and walked.
Well, yeah, I guess that's possible too. And Conchow, that's something you didn't tell the firefighters so too, that what happened at the Conchow. I've only met two survivors at Concow. It was right after we evacuated, and they were all covered in blood. Their car was messed up. They said they barely made it out of there alive. They said it was so smoky they couldn't drive on the road or see anything, and they had crashed their car a few times, but they were able to get out. But their neighbor had crashed into a tree, and they said he was deceased in his truck. And they lost everything, all their animals, everything. But that is so far the only survivor I've heard of in Concow, other than hearing about people surviving that went without Concow. All my previous neighbors that were out there did not make it. I do know that they passed.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, I went up to Concow too, and looked at that area, and I did see those cars that were just like they just drove off the side of the road. And my speculation was that because the visibility, you couldn't see 10 feet in front of you, they literally just drove off the road.
Correct. Absolutely. And the firefighter you spoke with about Concow. I spoke with the gentleman again at the post office that told me he had spoken with a firefighter that went into Concow, and as they were walking down into Concow, walking up a hill, that it was absolute carnage, that there was bodies all over the hillside that they had tried to outrun the fire.
I heard that too.
And that the numbers they're saying was so much more than what they were saying. And the 3 highway patrols told me at the time that there was at least 3,000 dead. And he said that they were going through every home and car. And once they went through every home and car, then we would be allowed home. And I said, well, what about those who aren't missing, or those whose homes survived? I was like, are you guys going to break into homes? How are you going to break into the homes? And they kind of didn't know what to say about that. And they said, we only go in homes that are burned. And then I asked about them blocking Pence Road, and the highway patrol told me that was above his pay grade. And all I could say to him was understood. And they told me that they believe at least 3,000 were deceased as far as they knew up there.
Yeah, and so everybody knows the official count is, what is it, 88 dead, and there were 1,340 missing. Now they're down to 11 missing.
Yeah, it doesn't add up.
Well, the tow truck driver told me going in on Thursday, he was called in. People he didn't know, California Highway Patrol, he knows them all because he tows, they call him to tow. He didn't recognize any of them. They escorted him in. I said, how many dead bodies did you see going in? He said, I saw 200 easy just in the first blush.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we're surrounding the wagon on this story, and we're not going to let this story die. We're not going to let you people be left alone. We're going to organize our circle of trust and our tribes. And I'm going to close it out now for the show, and thank you for both of you, Sharon and Susan, for sharing this first-person story. From the bottom of my heart, and all those listening, I'm sure I'm speaking for them too. Our heart goes out to you guys, and please let us know. Go reach out. People have been very generous in donating money. We can help, so please help us find others, and also with yourself. Let's keep in touch. Let's keep talking. Let's keep this story alive. And our prayers and hearts go out to you. In this new year, it's going to be a new beginning for us all. So thank you. And you may have saved lives, you guys, by speaking out. I mean, you may have saved lives by warning others, sharing with others. And like you said, if we don't stop this now, it's only going to get worse. The governor of California said this is the new abnormal. These fires will be going on the next 10, 15 to 20 years. And they will increase in intensity. His words,
right? Yeah. As long as they can get away with it, they're going to keep turning the volume up. And you may be sitting in your home right now going, well, that's not going to happen to me. Well, it wasn't going to happen to us either.
Right. That's the message. That's the message. Thank you, lady. Thank you, ladies. And let's do this again soon. What you want? Okay, and so you were just saying about the treating you, the people from Paradise that were lost in Chico, they're treating you in the town of Chico not very well. About Black Friday, they moved it to Oroville?
normal Black Friday shopping because they didn't want to, their customers to have to see all these down and out, burned out people camping out and lost everything in their parking lot. So they canceled it at the Chico Walmart and moved it to Orville. They didn't have it. So you get all your normal Chico shoppers that want to go to their local Walmart to do their Black Friday shopping. Well, they didn't get to do it. Why? Because, those poor people that got burned out are, taking up space in the parking lot, and they don't want them to, it's like they don't want them to have empathy for those people. And the Walmart, too, the news went there, like, filmed somebody with a tent who, I guess, had, like, a bucket of urine next to their tent. Why? Because there's no bathroom access once Walmart closes. But they lead us out. They portrayed us as we're just a bunch of disrespectful, disgusting, homeless people. And immediately we noticed the town had changed after that airing on the news. That night we were parked in a parking lot near the laundromat, and we were there a few hours early waiting for it to open. And the owner of the laundromat came up to the motorhome and was like panicked that we were there, didn't want to stay there, thinking we were going to like start a camp in the parking lot. I said, no, we're just here early so that as soon as your doors open, we can get in to do our laundry.
Gosh, that's terrible. And then you said there was one other thing that you just remembered you wanted to speak to. Wait, I can't. I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Oh, I apologize. Paradise was not on propane. We were on PG&E gas and electric. Everybody says, well, the explosions we heard were the propane tanks. There were none. Magnolia had propane tanks, but Paradise wasn't on propane. We were on natural gas. So what were the explosions? And they didn't sound like transformers either. That's one thing people get confused. Another thing our locals seem to get confused is they're like, well, Pence was on fire. No, Northern Pence was on fire. Everything from Pearson down was not. And they could have gotten people out that way, but they had the roads blocked. And then the EPA, when they come to clean up the toxic waste, they said, they would let you know on a website every day what area they were working at, and they were far away from our area. And so when we went up there thinking, okay, they haven't dug through our debris yet, we can still try to find something of our belongings. We got up there, and everything was already dug through. They had put white X's on all the propane tanks.
I saw that. They didn't remove the hazardous material. Guys were saying they had spray paint cans and stuff. They didn't remove any of that.
They didn't remove any of it, but they spray painted. Now, our propane tanks, we had propane tanks all over the property. We had some in the garage. We had some in the shop. They didn't explode. They were there, intact. And they were marked with an X, but not removed.
I saw those. I couldn't understand why the propane tanks were marked with an S, but that's the hazmat going through. And basically, I think they're just going through to make sure they can't find any more bones.
Right, and they also, we got stuff go missing from the property after they had been up there. Your safe went missing after they had gone through there, right? Yeah, I think the safe is gone. Yeah. Yeah, but,
and they got rid of all the guns too. I mean, nobody had all your guns, all the safes, all the gun safes were all torched.
And that's another interesting thing. How we found out our home was gone. Our neighbor had a friend that worked for the ATF, and they were the ones that notified us that our street was gone. So it makes you wonder, was ATF up there going through
the alcohol, tobacco, and the alcohol, tobacco was notifying you your house was gone?
Yeah, it was, and through the neighbor. It was whoever's, I guess, personal friend that works for ATF. But I was like, wait a minute, why is ATF up there? How'd they get in? Why are they up there? And then it just kind of clicked to me. People ran out of their homes so fast. Everybody left their guns. Oh, and another thing I forgot to tell you, for days after, it was the 9th, November 9th, 10th, and I think 11th, like there was all that smoke everywhere, so you couldn't see anywhere near Paradise. They had Highway 99 shut down. They had Highway 32 shut down. So pretty much any vantage point you could get to see up at Paradise, you could not visibly see anything. And down in Chico, where we were staying at the time, I started feeling vibrations. And I used to live near a military. They play their war games with the tanks. And it felt the same exact way. It felt like explosions. And I put a glass of water on the table to see if the ground was shaking. And sure enough, the vibrations I was feeling were there. And it was like every 10 minutes, it would start at night and end at night. It was like these explosions kept happening, and it felt just like the war games. And we lived about the same distance from the military base when they were playing their war games as we do from Paradise. And it just makes me wonder, did they go through everybody's homes, remove the guns, remove things out of people's homes, since we know our home was gone through before it caught on fire?
Most likely, I mean, they were thorough. I mean, one thing that comes out of all this, they were extremely thorough before they let anybody in. And the other thing, too, is when I came up there last time, it was about a week and a half ago, there was this chem fog. And I grew up in fog in the Bay Area and everything. I know what fog is. This wasn't a regular cloud of condensation coming from the coast, the fog belt. No, this was something layered over Chico, over Butte, and up to Paradise. And as soon as we got to Polga, it was all clear. But you could clearly see when we got down to Oroville that there was something just parked right in town in Chico. You couldn't see 20 feet in front of you.
I happened to be up there at the property that night, and I was very disturbed by that because, I couldn't believe it. And the way it cleared out, it was almost like a straight line, the way the fog went. And we're here in the mountains. We don't get fog up here. Very rarely do we get fog. A couple times a year at tops up here. So that was by far not normal. I mean, very weird how that was.